I think just the feeling we got walking through the school. Like, there's no bells and whistles, there's no computer lab, but you can feel the energy and you can feel the joy in the kids in the classrooms. And my husband and I both looked at each other and were like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, we found our school.
Our kids were actually attending a public school, elementary school, down the street. We were looking for a more challenging environment for our kids. We didn't know what we were getting into. But literally within the first semester, we were all in.
As a public school educator for so many years, I was a never charter person. I realize now in hindsight that I had been fed a lot of propaganda about charter schools. And when I started actually researching it, I learned, oh, it's really what is best for the education of each child.
At Great Hearts, we love to form the hearts and minds of students through the pursuit of the true, the good, and the beautiful. Our students are going to read great books, from Frog and Toad in first grade to the Brothers Karamazov in their senior year.
We took a look at that book list and we were sold.
One thing that we had found in our public school experience is that we were constantly monitoring what our children were being assigned to read, and we really loved the book list at Great Hearts because we knew we were confident that they were being presented with material that was incredibly rich and would really trigger their imaginations and their love of learning.
The distinction of Great Hearts, as we saw it at that point, was that it would have the diversity that private schools didn't have, but then also an excellence in curriculum that typically one would not find in a public school.
Our aim is to raise up virtuous young men and women who have a sense of purpose and vision, who are endowed with a sense of destiny that's been shaped by the great conversation, and who are equipped to live it out.
Great Hearts does an incredible job of uniting and marrying the intellectual formation with moral formation.
One of the great things about Great Hearts is that it appeals, instead of what is most base in our human nature, it appeals to what is the highest.
For me, education isn't just about what you're learning in class, that academic-wise. It's the building and forming of character.
They're going to study and pursue those ennobling and lasting things with teachers who are intellectually, morally, and aesthetically alive.
The teachers at Great Hearts set an exemplary example. They go above and beyond in also demonstrating these virtues in their own lives.
There's so much to love about Great Hearts, but it all starts in the classroom. What I love about teaching is being in the classroom with my students.
This is a classical education, and for generations it's only been available at elite private schools. But we seek to make it available to all families, at least to all families who are willing to go on the journey with us.
One thing that we were pleasantly surprised with, actually, when we got to Great Hearts, is that not only is the curriculum itself unifying in that it all coheres, but it also is unifying in that it brings diverse students from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different cultures, and it unifies them through the pursuit of truth and through the reading of excellent material.
All the riches of the liberal arts, those which set their soul free, these are their rightful inheritance, their intellectual inheritance, and we endeavor to give them their initial possession of it.
I was initially drawn to STEM type schools because I thought I love science and technology and engineering and math. What I found out is that most of those schools really aren't STEM. What they are is giving kids a screen, which I don't think the science shows help them learn very well. But Great Hearts is they emphasize science and engineering and math. They give them all those things that actually will make them technology workers. So I think Great Hearts, even though it doesn't advertise itself as STEM, is truly one of the deepest STEM schools that you could go to.
We're going to an elite private school without the $30,000 price tag.
As a professor in a liberal arts college, I had met a few of the graduates from the Arizona schools that came, and they were impressive.
Great Hearts was the best decision we could make for our students' education.
As we continue to grow, we invite you to join us for the journey.
Good evening and welcome to Great Hearts Anthem's virtual information evening. We're so glad you can join us through our YouTube channel or through our Facebook page. We're really grateful you're here. If you have any questions for us as we move through our program, please feel free to put them in the comments. They'll feed directly to us and we'll be happy to go ahead and get those answered for you as we go through the evening. We will have a question and answer session later. Just to give you a brief overview of what we're going to be discussing this evening. First up is going to be, what is classical education? What is the mission of Great Hearts Anthem? Then we're going to be talking about our curriculum. We're lucky in that we have both a K-5 Archway program as well as a 6 through 12 prep program here. So our headmasters are going to be excited to speak with you all about that information. Then we're going to talk about enrollment. How do you get your student enrolled over here at Great Hearts Anthem? And what's available right now? What does that look like? And then we're going to have a question and answer session. We want to hear from you, our viewers. So please, like I said, feel free to go ahead and pop your questions into the comments and we'll go ahead and get those answered. I'd like to take a moment and introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Sylvester. I'm Director of Operations for Great Hearts Anthem. I've been involved here at Great Hearts Anthem in one way or another since before the school opened. It's my pleasure to serve you, our parent community, and hopeful new parents in this role. I'd like to introduce you also to Mrs. Teresa Clark. She is our Archway headmaster. Our Archway program encompasses our K-5 program, and Mr. Zachary Withers is our prep headmaster, and that encompasses our 6 through 12 curriculum. Mr. Withers, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Great. I'd love to. Thank you, Ms. Sylvester. So I am completing my 11th year this year at Great Hearts Academies. I started actually as just an Anthem prep teacher. And then I spent a couple years there, went to one of our sister schools, spent about 8 years there, worked in school administration, and then started doing training to become a headmaster. And then a year ago, last March, I came on as the incoming prep headmaster. And it's been a great year. We have great faculty, we have great students and great families. And I'm excited for you all to possibly join us in our Anthem family at the prep school.
All right, Mrs. Clark, you've been with Great Hearts Anthem, I think, since before we opened also. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, Ms. Sylvester. I've been here for 13 years. Started at the very first school called Telios. We started in 3rd grade through 8th grade at that time. But we did start Anthem the following year. So it was in 2010 that we began. And it's just been a pleasure for me to be here all these years and see the growth of the network, and see the development of our teachers, and to get to know all the parents and the students throughout all these years. I have had the privilege of serving as a teacher first, and then a dean, an assistant headmaster, and a headmaster.
Fantastic. Now, Tess, since you have been here with us for so long and served even over at the Telios School, which was a fantastic school, can you tell us about the mission of Great Hearts? What does it look like to enroll your student in classical education?
Absolutely. With regard to the mission, this is something that everyone in the network embraces, and it is unique, I think, for a network as large as ours. And that is to cultivate the minds and hearts of students through the pursuit of truth, goodness, and beauty. And what this means to us is, you may have heard a little bit about what a classical education is. Few people realize that classical education, liberal arts education, has been around for over 2,000 years. And started in Greece, to Rome, to Europe, and into the United States. Many of our forefathers, Lincoln, for example, and presidents, have had this kind of an education. And this education is based on the idea that humans really need to learn a certain body of knowledge and learn it in certain stages, something that we call the trivium and the quadrivium. But with regard to our particular curriculum at each of the schools, the K-5 and then the 6-12, we can discuss that a little bit later. But it is an education that is something that I've experienced even personally that far outweighs public school, even private school, and even some of the private school liberal arts schools that my children attended and that I was a part of. Great Hearts has been able to take this education and make it so that it is extraordinary among so many different schools and so many different curricula. I'm just proud to be a part of the Great Hearts Network. So I will toss this back to Ms. Sylvester.
All right. Thank you so much for introducing that concept to us. We appreciate it. Now, we got to have a place to house that concept, right? And we are building a brand new school that we're super excited about. Mr. Withers, would you please introduce to us the new campus and where it's located?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are very excited for a new campus. To give you a little bit of the history, we started out in a shopping plaza back when the school first started. We spent 3 years there, then moved across the street to our current location, which is a rental of a church space. And then we're moving just a little bit up north, up the I-17, off of Arroyo Norte, which is in between, if you know that area, in between Anthem Way and New River Road. We are housed, as you can see, that blue indicator there in the back part of that lot. And we have the entire half of that lot there. So we are excited to be moving into this. And if we could see the slide that has the outline of there we go, the renderings. Mrs. Clark mentioned that we are a classical school and that we are going back to a tradition of education, going all the way back to Greece and Rome. Well, you can see some of those values reflected in the architecture, especially those nice, beautiful columns in both entryways. And then you get a little bit of a peek there on the bottom left of our facilities for students during their free periods. At the prep, we call that Lyceum. And then an archway, their recess, and then PE space. So we're really excited to have such beautiful architecture. We will have many other components. As you can see in this picture here, we have the main area you just saw is the mixture of purple, orange, and blue. And that's the main school building there. We have plenty of parking on the back end of the lot, the north side. And then we're very excited for this, especially at the prep, to have our very own full-size AIA regulation football and soccer field. We haven't been able to have that in our entire school's existence. We've always rented out other spaces. Some of our fellow Great Hearts schools, they've graciously lent us their space. But we're excited to have something to call our home, to have real homecoming games, and to really build up the culture of that student athlete. So we're very excited for that as we go forward.
We really are excited for that. I myself know that I cannot wait to watch a real football field on our own field. One of the things that I am excited about on that field that's unique to our school, and I think also to Roosevelt, is that we're going to have underground water retention. So at some of our sister schools, the water is pulled on top when there's a monsoon rain. But for us, it's actually going to go underground so that we'll be able to play really in all weather. I'm really excited about the opportunity for our students to enjoy that field. Now, speaking about our curriculum, again, we're a full K through 12 program. And what that means is that we're unique also from some of our sister schools in that when your student is promoted from 5th grade to 6th grade here at Anthem Prep, there's no need to reapply. You don't have to worry about all of that. Your student automatically gets promoted into our 6th grade program. And so, Mrs. Clark, why don't you tell us, if you don't mind, a little bit about that K through 5 program? What does it look like for a student in the classroom? What are they studying and what are they reviewing over there?
I'd love to. So we're particularly proud of our K through 5 curriculum and what we're trying to accomplish, which is through our curriculum, the phonics, the spelling, vocabulary, the reading and literature, grammar, and composition. This is one important area, especially for our K-5 students. And then our curriculum is based on core knowledge. If you're familiar with the core knowledge curriculum, we really do focus on the history and the geography, and there are other aspects of core knowledge when we are looking at music and art theory and some of our other areas of study. Singapore math is something that the Great Hearts Network decided to go with, and it really lends itself well to a classical curriculum. It begins with some concrete, lots of hands-on manipulatives, and then our students are drawing pictures. So it moves from the concrete to the pictorial, and then onto abstract concepts, and the ability to be able to understand, even at an earlier age, algebraic algorithms, but they understand the whys behind it and not just how to do this. Core knowledge science is another area of study that produces and really draws forth our students' sense of wonder. Latin is also same and key to our curriculum and important in its own right. I could speak a long time about Latin. I won't. And I'll move on to art, music, the theory. So in music, we focus on musical theory and choral. There will be some instrumental music as well, and knowledge of our artists. In art, they are going to understand some art history. They're going to understand some biographies about the artists. And they're going to have a lot of hands-on and different ways to produce beautiful artwork that also begins with drawing and understanding beautiful art already, being able to use to develop those skills that so many great artists have shown in classical artwork. So we're really building those skills so that they are prepared for the next journey, which is in prep, and their artwork become more complex and more detailed. Physical education, we have PE. So PE we have every other day, and it runs side by side with Latin. So Latin is also every other day. Our art and music, our students will have 5 days a week every semester, and then they'll flip the following semester. All of these areas of study will go to build academic, moral, and physical excellence that is in keeping with a classical education.
It does, and it ties in nicely with what's being offered in our 6 through 12 program. I've had my son who's currently a senior, and so speaking from my own experience, he started here with Great Hearts Archway in 3rd grade. He really developed into the person that I see now getting ready to graduate. So Zach, can you tie us in from that 5th grade into our 6th through 12th grade program, please?
Yeah. So as Ms. Messer mentioned, it is meant to be a full K-12 curriculum. But that said, we do have many students join us in 6th grade, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and even in 9th grade, and are successful throughout our programs. And we're used to having new students at those points. So I can speak to how we integrate those students at another time here, maybe at the end during the Q&A. But as you can see, there are similar subjects. Every student will continue to take humanities courses, literature and history, math courses, science courses, language courses, and then also our arts courses. The thing that sets our high school apart, but even our middle school, is we do have a core curriculum. That is, all of our students take the same sequence of classes at the same time. So we don't have, as maybe a traditional high school, where you take geometry and then you have different levels. They are a 9th grade cohort, and all of our 9th graders take geometry. And then they move into pre-calculus, and then calculus 1, and then calculus 2. Calc 2 does become an optional course for our students, along with some of the other senior courses. So that is an area where we do break from our core curriculum and give students the chance to choose what we call our senior options. And so they take at least their human letters course, which I'll speak to in a moment. They take an art class, and then they can choose either a 2nd year of calculus, they can choose a 2nd year of physics, they can choose a 2nd year of language, or they can choose 2 different courses, one called logic and coding and one called the American rhetorical tradition. So that's where we do break from the core curriculum a little bit there. Another point at which our students do have a choice in their high school studies is in that transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. our ninth graders get to choose which language track they're going to be on for the next at least 3, maybe 4 years. Some of our students will choose our Spanish track. Well, they'll take at least 3 years of immersion-based Spanish. Some of the students will do the same thing for French. And then some of our students will continue to study what we call our classics track. That is where they continue to study the Latin that they've studied in middle school for those 3 years. They now are in advanced Latin where they're reading primary source text, and then they get to transition into studying 2 years of Greek. Another thing you might notice about our curriculum is that we do have advanced science classes. Again, all of our students will take advanced lab science classes, but all of our students will also take arts classes. We don't see those as particularly expendable or just additional electives. We really do view them as a core part of our curriculum. And so they'll learn to paint, they'll learn to write poetry, they'll learn to act, and they'll learn to compose music and perform music. And so the other course I just want to mention here, and we can go into more detail during the Q&A, is just our Humane Letters course. So during middle school, our students take history and literature as separate classes. In high school, those combine to become a 2-hour Great Book seminar class. This really is our premier class in the high school program. They read the best books ever written. They get to do that with excellent teachers who are trained in the Socratic seminar pedagogy, where they're not lecturing on the books, they're facilitating a conversation among the students. And so every time you come and do a tour, and so I recommend if you haven't done that, you come tour with us. I'll take you into one of our 12th grade Human Letters classes. You might get to see Miss Sylvester's son and some of our other seniors discussing the Brothers Karamazov, as was mentioned in the video.
That's awesome. You are correct. Humane Letters is, I think, my son's favorite class. He started out as a pretty shy kid, actually, when he started here. I know people that know him find that very hard to believe, but he did. And Anthem Prep really kind of helped bring him out of himself so that he can be a great participator in those discussions. He wasn't always that great. He got in trouble quite a bit. And that's one of the things that I like about Anthem Prep is that they stick with the kids and they help them become the fantastic human beings that we wind up graduating. I do want to talk to you about our athletic program, though. Mr. Withers, what kind of athletics are offered here at Great Hearts Anthem in our 6 through 12 program?
Yeah, great question. So we do have full athletics offerings. I think the only thing that we are not currently offering right now, I think, is swim, but we've had that in the past. It just depends on if that makes or not. But we have football. We do flag for middle school, tackle for high school. We have volleyball for both middle school and high school. We do cross country. We have golf, chess. We have football, again, for the middle school as flag football. And then we have, in the winter, soccer and basketball. So we're coming off of that high school soccer and basketball season into wrapping up our middle school our middle school basketball season, as well as baseball, softball, and we'll have track and tennis going as well. So we really do have the full range. About half of our students participate in some athletics during the school year. I'd say about 30% in multiple seasons. And it's really great. And this is part of our Renaissance vision for students, is that you might have the student who's in the play and performs a lead in the play will also be on the football team and out there on the field. And that all wraps up into our vision. And so as we grow, we're looking to become more competitive and to build up our athletics culture in the years to come. So we're excited for that opportunity.
Yeah, I know we are. I know I am at any rate. So once a student graduates from a Great Hearts Anthem, what does that look like as far as earnings for scholarships? How are our students doing on the SATs? What does that look like? So I'd like to, if I could, share with you some statistics from our 2021 class. That was a class of 42 students. As you can see here, those students earned over $5 million in merit-based scholarships. So what that means is that they did so well in school that they were able to earn that much. Now, I want to point something out. Not every student here is a straight A student. It's just, we're a school like everywhere else. Not every student is straight A, but every student is capable of learning and contributing and being a great member of Great Hearts Anthem. So looking at these numbers, those students earned per student $132,000 per kiddo in merit-based scholarships. Now, obviously, that's not exactly how it worked because, some of the schools that offered merit-based scholarships, the students didn't attend. But that gives you an idea of what these students are capable of. And every student is capable of coming to Great Hearts Anthem. That's one of the things that I really like. The school is approachable. Your students will, again, become well-rounded individuals. They'll learn how to think critically. I think that is a skill that's being sort of lost in society. And that's one thing that I know our teachers work on so hard here in the classrooms. One of the questions that some of our students, we got a lot of new students every year. And next year, we're excited to be adding one new section for every K through 5th grade. So we're going from a 2-section to 3-section. And then on the prep side, 6 through 8 is also growing. We're going to go from 3 sections per each grade into 4 sections per each grade. So we're going to have a lot of brand new, fantastic students and families on our campus. Mrs. Clark, can you tell us what it looks like for those new families coming in and what your teachers and your TAs do in order to get them kind of up to speed?
Absolutely. This is a question that we often have on the tours. We do have the reputation of being a rigorous school, and we're very proud of the quality and the excellence of our education. But some parents are a little bit worried. They think, well, if my child hasn't started with your school since kindergarten, how are you going to help them catch up academically if they're new to the school in 4th grade for the very first time? What we do is our teachers will assess the beginning of the year and also throughout the year to see where our students are, and we will reach out to parents in a number of ways. If they need tutoring, the teachers will invite those students to tutoring. And it could be twice a week for half an hour after school. It might even be a circumstance where we think, okay, I think we can catch them up at the end of the classroom when maybe we're giving them a little bit of time to wrap up. And so we may pull them out of class for maybe 5 minutes to really go over a particular concept. We will also monitor our students carefully in how they are answering their questions for homework. We'll be able to see the next day, for example, with math that morning, our teaching assistants will grade the math, and they will let our teacher know that so many students may have missed these questions. Maybe the teacher needs to go over that concept because it's something that the class may need to review. So we do keep careful track, and we don't want anyone to fall behind. We have practices and strategies in place to not only challenge high flyers and to really meet students where they are and to help those students who are behind or who lack confidence to catch up and just really be a part of our program and fully participate.
And one thing I do want to point out in our Archway classrooms is that every Archway classroom, so every classroom K through 5, has not only a teacher, a lead teacher, but also a teacher assistant. And Tess, about how many students approximately are in those classrooms, please?
Yes, we have 30 in each classroom, but we also have 2 teachers. So we'll have a teacher, a teaching assistant, sometimes an apprentice teacher, and the teaching assistants will follow the class into the art and music and into the PE, so that even our specialist teachers will have the assistance of that assistant. So at certain age levels, we'll make sure to have 2 teachers in the room, and sometimes we'll even have a third. So if we have a student with a disability, and we may have our ESS teaching assistants in there helping very particular students with their needs as well.
So families, I want you to really, really hear that when we say we care and we are invested in your students, we are putting our money where our mouth is. We make sure that your students are cared for, and we try everything and do everything that we possibly can in order to support him or her as they come into our curriculum. Now, Mr. Withers, 6 through 12 looks a little bit different, doesn't it?
That's right. Do you want me to talk about how we transition students? So
Yes.
it depends on what grade level, but at 6th grade, about half of our students next year will be new. So we start off with really tackling those group of students by we're actually really all students are new to prep, but about half of those will be new coming from outside of Great Hearts. And so we really do a strategic onboarding for all of our 6th grade. And we've done that from year to year, where we really work with our students to know our academic expectations, our behavioral expectations, as well as work with study skills. And that really sets the tone for the year. We're going to be doing that all the more this coming year, having that orientation for not just 6th graders, but all of our incoming students who are new. Then let's say a student is behind in a class like Latin. We will actually, this coming year, because we're switching curriculum, all of our students will be starting really at the same spot. They'll be starting from chapter 1 of our new book, but then depending on their level and ability, we'll be going a little bit further. So 7th grade will go a little bit further than 6th grade, and 8th grade will go a little bit further than 7th. And so I think it's a good year to transition in for us. And we usually then dial back the work and the expectations depending on the student's familiarity with Latin. And if we need be, if a student isn't able to get caught up by working one-on-one with the teacher and tutoring, and they're struggling to pick up some of the stuff they've missed, we then can move to a pass-fail for students. And we've done that on occasion too. So we want to really meet the needs of the particular individual students. And so we have a few options. And similarly in math, when our students come in, let's say a little bit later in our program and they haven't had the algebra skills, we have just recommendations for how to maybe get caught up even before the year starts. We can recommend some online programs that we offer to do a kind of crash course in math. We are planning to have some summer school as well, and we'll communicate those offerings a little bit later, maybe the middle to beginning of May. And we'll let you know if there's going to be an algebra crash course so you can get ready for that, especially for students, a high schooler, because we find that our students coming in high school have missed some of those algebra skills. But I think as Mrs. Clark mentioned or alluded to at least, all of our teachers are really wanting to work with our students and meet them where they're at. And each teacher at least schedules 2 different tutoring times during the week. But I know our teachers are more than happy to meet more often than that if the student's willing to put in the work. And so those are the areas in which we see maybe a challenge to transitioning in from a different school to ours, but certainly not insurmountable. We have this happen all the time, and we have students who are very successful coming in at all different grades, whether that's throughout middle school or even early high school.
You say challenge, I say opportunity.
That's right.
The first step to those opportunities is enrollment. You've got to enroll your student. We are a charter school, so we are tuition free. There, you can come here for free, and we would love to have you here. In order to apply for the 22-23 school year, which again is going to be kicked off at our new campus, is the best way to do it, and the only way, is to go to greatheartsanthem.org. As the slide says, it takes less than 5 minutes to submit an application. Now, the sooner you apply, the higher you'll be on our wait list. So, for example, if I have 2 people applying right now for kindergarten, the person who hits submit first is going to be higher on that wait list than the person who submits later. And as positions open up, we're making offers. We do have some seats available, but seats are very limited. So if you're interested in enrolling your student here at Great Hearts Anthem in our K-12 program, please, again, visit our website, greatheartsanthem.org, and submit that application. We would love to have your student enrolled here. so that they can learn and enjoy our campus as we move. And when we move, we are going to be opening on I think it was August 15th. It's a Tuesday, August 16th, excuse me. So that will be our first day of school. That's a week later than where we normally start. But our website has all of that information and more. Again, our first day of school is going to be Tuesday, August 16th, and we would love to have you there so that you can learn more and join us as we go on our new adventure. I do have a question here. Mr. Withers, do you recommend any online math courses for prep students that they can take this summer to help bridge that gap between the public school and Great Hearts?
Yeah, I do. So we typically do one of two things. One, again, if we can offer a summer school class, we sometimes are available to do that. If not, one of our sister schools can offer a kind of crash course in algebra. So in person, it was always better. But let's say that's not doable and maybe you want some flexibility. We do have a standard online curriculum that we use not only for these purposes, but also for credit recovery and makeup classes if a student comes in and happens to miss some high school credits. And that's through BYU online, their high school classes that we have access to that we can then tailor to match our curriculum. And so it's actually a pretty good setup. And our students have given good feedback on going through that. I would say this, though, like our Latin curriculum, we are also making changes to math. And so with that comes a slight dialing back of the sequence, which then means that we will do some, and we always get a little bit of more of this in 10th grade because of the way our sequence goes. It will be something like this going forward. We're working on the titles for the course, but it will basically be a kind of math foundations course in 6th grade. It will then be a introduction to algebra in 7th grade, and then really a straight algebra 1 high school level class in 8th grade. And then they'll skip algebra for a year, take geometry using Euclid's Elements, that famous Greek geometer, as the primary text, while then learning some modern geometry along the way. And then they'll jump into what really will be Algebra 2. And so what we've done is do a substantial amount of algebra review. Even our own students who have gone through Algebra 1 do get a little bit rusty there as well. And so we will be even in a better spot, those coming in with the dialing back our curriculum just ever so slightly. So the gap in the algebra knowledge won't be as substantial as it has been in the past.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that new math curriculum myself, actually. I like sitting there and working on some of the problems, so we'll see how well I do. See if I'm a little rusty. Another question did come in. Can you speak to what our education does for students after they graduate? Now, Mrs. Clark, you had some graduates from Anthem Prep. Do you want to give us your experience, please?
Absolutely. I've seen this education from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade and into college and then after college. It is extraordinary how we prepare our students, not just academically, those 3 points I was speaking about earlier, academically, physically, and morally. But we really do help them in establishing habits, work habits, and kind of a mindset about how to approach work, how to approach society, one another with kindness, with goodwill. And I can say that I've had 2 sons who have graduated from Anthem Prep, and afterwards, to see my son, who was probably about in the middle of his class, in the Anthem Prep class, to become what he is now. He was an athlete, and he decided to turn down athletic scholarships because he wanted to really focus on the academics when he went to college. And there he was able to just to fly. He decided to concentrate on business, and so there was a lot of math involved. And he minored in economics as well. Now he's in a field and has a job that is a fantastic job, stable, good pay, and he feels like he's really contributing. Our students build leadership skills. They don't just graduate with what the curriculum and everything that we've taught them and go off and then and learn some more. Their love of learning is so strong that they carry that with them during college and even after college. So we have lifelong learners. We are creating lifelong learners who continue to develop that sense of wonder and the skills to be able to really succeed in life. And so, yes, I can tell you that both are very happy in what they're doing now. And they found every aspect of their education, especially here at Anthem Prep, the Great Hearts Liberal Arts Classical Education. It's a lifelong education that they will take with them.
It is. That's very true. If I could tell you a quick story, a couple of years ago, our school had a half day. And so some of our students in their uniforms went to a local restaurant, sat down, and were enjoying a nice meal. Later on that afternoon, I got an email from a family that was sitting very close by. And the family was very impressed with how the students behaved, how kind and gracious they were to the wait staff. And they couldn't believe the conversations our students were having. We had about 10 students there, so normally that can get pretty rowdy, but these kids were just having a good time enjoying one another's conversation. And that family was kind enough to buy all of their meals. So that kind of, I hope, gives you an idea of the kind of student we're creating here. They go out in the community, they do great things, and we're very proud of our students and our families. Follow-up question to Mr. Withers. How do we find out what locations have a summer school? And do we have access to BYU online? Would you be able to help us with that, Mr. Withers?
Yeah, absolutely. So that you don't have that access to that information right now. So what will happen is once we have nailed down our summer school offerings, we'll email parents out with that information. And that will include what we are offering and if that's going to be at Anthem Prep or another Great Hearts school, and then some more information like the cost, the timing, and so forth. Usually that's through the month of June. We don't typically offer summer classes in July. The BYU course is nice because, again, it gives flexibility, depending on family vacations, depending on just maybe how slowly your child might need to go through it. It's the on-site ones are typically 2 to 3 weeks, so that can be quite a fast pace. And what we would do is coordinate that with you. So I think the best thing to do if you want to talk some of those options, actually just to email me directly. And that can be just at zwithers@anthemprep.org. And we can coordinate some of those options as well. And I'm happy to have a phone call as well.
That's awesome. And that's another thing I want to point out. Our headmasters are accessible to everybody. So if you do have any questions for them, give us a call. Our phone number here in main line at the school is 623-465-4776. Again, 623-465-4776. Mr. Withers, his email address would be zwithers@anthemprep.org. Again, that's zwithers, WITHERS, @anthemprep.org. And Mrs. Clark, again, our K through 5 program. Her email address is tclark@anthemprep.org. So TCLARK @anthemprep.org. Now, curriculum is great and sports are awesome. Goodness knows I love me a good football game. But we do so much more here to enrich our students and our campus. Can you guys speak a little bit, please, about our extracurricular activities? Mr. Withers, Mrs. Clark, why don't you kick us off, Mrs. Clark? What does Archway offer for extracurricular activities for your students?
Absolutely, I'd love to. So we have clubs. We have art club, music club. We have drama club. We have chess club. And going into next year, as we're expanding, I look forward to having more teachers in, because what we ask them to do is, if they think of a club that is connected, let's say in some way, to our curriculum, to venture forth and offer that club. But we have more than even the clubs that like to if you don't mind, we have field trips. We have outreach programs. So, for example, the Desert Life Botanical Gardens, they may come and do a presentation. One time we had a bald eagle, a real bald eagle, here in the commons, and you could see its wingspan, and just so some enriching activities and celebrations that go hand in hand with our curriculum. So these are some of the offerings and some of the main offerings that we will have for our K-5 students.
Before I throw it to Mr. Withers, a question did come in. For the Archway Drama Club, do the Archway students perform any Shakespeare? Back to Archway, Mrs. Clark.
We do a variety. They may have some Shakespearean shorter parts of Shakespeare plays. We haven't done a full-fledged one. Certainly Hamlet is something that our prep does really well, and they're capable of doing. But we do have a variety of other skits that, in addition to Shakespeare, that are just a lot of fun and develop our students and their ability to project. So we really have the drama club for 4th and 5th grade, because we find that that is an age when they are just ready to show themselves as actors. Their memory is fantastic, and we see another side of them that we don't typically see. Now, sometimes we see it when they are reciting poetry, but this adds on another dimension.
It certainly does. And if I could carry the drama theme over into our prep program, our students in 11th grade are required to take one full semester of drama. And in 11th grade, they're focusing on Greek plays, traditional, the roots of theater. They're learning about all that history. And then in 12th grade, they kind of expand out. And I know this year, if I'm not mistaken, they're performing Hamlet. So our prep drama club doesn't necessarily do Shakespeare. So what does our prep drama club do, and what other clubs does Anthem Prep offer?
Yeah, so we have a number of extracurriculars. We typically do a spring musical, which combines some work by our music department as well as our drama department. We just did Mary Poppins, and that went very well. It was actually the work of about 2 years. It was supposed to happen last year, and with the pandemic, it got shut down before they could actually be on stage. And so it was wonderful to see the fruition of that work. We also have concert choir, and they're actually performing in the Great Hearts Honor Choir Festival here, and not this Friday, next Friday. And we're really looking forward to that. We have about 30 high schoolers that are in that right now. We also have an art and science course offering. Typically, they've done some work together, though. So, for instance, one thing they did this year was they researched biospheres. And then the artistic component was that they made sculptures of different things in a desert biosphere. So that was really neat. And we displayed that at our annual, actually, we usually have a semester. Each semester have an art show. And so that was really great. And then the concerts as well. So all of our extracurricular students who are in choir, they perform with our curricular singers as well. And so each semester we have a concert at our own campus, and that's really great as well. I also want to talk a little bit about some things we're looking to offer. I really would like to get robotics on the table, as well as maybe something like mock trial. And so we just are looking into, of course, the staffing and the interest for those things. At this point, we don't have band. We'd love to be able to do that. Again, if we could find the right teacher for that, as well as the student interest, we'd be happy to offer that. I forgot one club, though. We do have actually two. We have a philosophy club that is a little bit broader than our curriculum, and that's a world philosophy club. So we've been spending time looking at Chinese and Indian philosophers, as well as some of the great Western thinkers from Greece. And then also we have a speech and debate club as well for middle schoolers and high schoolers. But that's not all that happens kind of outside the life of just the classroom. And so we have a number of trips each year of high school. Our students take a trip to give you a sample all of our ninth graders will go to UC-YC and spend a night over there in northern Arizona. We've gone to San Diego. Our sophomores will do that trip. And then we're just gearing up for this. All of our seniors will go to Washington, D.C. as a whole cohort. And Miss Sylvester's been doing great work on that. She's coordinated the whole trip. And we'll get to go on that this year with her son. So that we're looking forward to that. Additionally, we have two other programs that operate kind of in tandem to each other. So we have what we call our house system. So every student is divided up into 4 houses. And we use this as a framework for friendly competitions among our student body and faculty. This could happen in a intramural competition, such as a basketball game, or we did a kickball tournament. We have ultimate frisbee or dodgeball, and they get house points for winning, and those are a lot of fun. We also then have houses take turns each quarter hosting a coffee house night, which is essentially like an open mic night where they get to perform. They can recite poetry, they can do karaoke and sing a song, or they could sing an original song. And we do that every quarter among our student body as well. And so that's a lot of fun. And then, of course, we have our field day that we do every year where the whole school, the whole prep school competes against each other in house competitions throughout that half day. So that's another great kind of outside of the classroom event. And then the last thing is we have a mentorship program that's starting in 7th grade. Our students can join. And this has several components. We pour a little bit extra into these students because they're not only tackling their academics well, but they're looking for more. And so we might have special speakers that come and talk just to our mentors. But then the idea is they take lead on some service projects. And so we did Hope Totes this year, where we brought in the largest donation they'd ever seen of bags for the homeless, or supplies that would go into a bag to serve the homeless community in Phoenix. And so our mentors, particularly our 8th graders, really took lead on that, and it was wonderful. We also then have them paired up with younger students. And so some of our high school mentors will be paired up with either younger high school students or middle school students, and they'll kind of show them the ropes, so to speak, and help them be an Anthem Prep student. So that's a broad strokes picture of what's happening kind of outside that classroom life at the prep school.
What a well-rounded place to be, I feel. We really do, again, pour into our students in the entire K through 12 experience. And I hope that we can welcome your students and you here to our campus so that your student can take advantage of the great opportunities that we have available here. Again, we're going to be moving over the summer, so our offices are going to be a little limited and a little weird looking while we make that transition. But we do need you to apply if you're interested in enrolling your student here at Anthem Prep. Once again, to enroll at Anthem Prep, again, K through 12, go to our website, greatheartsanthem.org. It takes about 5 minutes to complete that application. We do have a few spaces that are limited. Would love, love, love for your students to fill those up. Now, this is our last live online information session, but we are going to be having 2 in-person sessions at our current campus. We're currently located at 39808 North Gavilan Peak Road, and we're going to be having those events on Tuesday. April 26th is going to be our Archway event. That Archway event, I think, is going to be starting at 5 o'clock. For more information, go to our website, again, greatheartsanthem.org, and you'll be able to register to attend that event. Our prep event is going to be that Thursday, April 28th. That is also going to be starting around 5 o'clock. At both of those events, you're going to get to meet the headmasters in person, meet some of our faculty and staff. You get to meet me. And we can talk with you a little bit more personally about your experience and any specific questions that you might have. We also offer tours. If you haven't been to our current campus, would love to meet you. So again, go to our website, greatheartsanthem.org, sign up for a tour, sign up for one of our in-person events. Again, the K through 5 program live is going to be held on Tuesday, April 26th. And the live prep information evening is going to be held that Thursday for our 6 through 12 program. Again, that Thursday is going to be April 28th. Folks, we're so grateful that you spent this time with us. I hope that we've answered all your questions. If not, though, give us a call. Again, that phone number, 623-465-4776. Reach out to our headmasters. They would love to hear from you. And again, would love to see you here on our campus. So sign up for a tour. Thank you once again. It's been a pleasure hosting this evening for you. I hope I get to meet you all in person soon. Have a wonderful evening.